Also, as well, one of the things that they're doing, I had spoken to, it's called the Smoke Free Act of Ontario, SFOA. And they were, and they still are in the process of shutting down places that serve shisha, right? So I know a lot of the owners, and I remember I sat down and had a meeting with them, and I told them, I said, when I spoke to these guys at SFOA, you know what the future plan is in Canada, right? Marijuana cafes. That's the next thing they want to do. It's a huge, huge moneymaker. So what you're saying, alcohol is mainstream, meaning fucking pretty much everyone drinks. And everyone goes to the liquor store to buy wine or when they go out. So it's just available everywhere. Like you're not going to be able to go to the keg and get a joint, but you can go to the keg and get a bottle of wine.
Circle K now has dispensaries in Brampton.
But I'm saying again, it's not at the mainstream level where,
exactly, 100%.
We can go out right now to any place on this fucking street and drink as much as we want, right? You can pretty much go to any convenience store and you can buy cigarettes. So she's right. It's still at its infancy stage. It's going to get to the point where it's going to become mainstream where when you go out to have a meal at the keg, they'll have a fucking menu with weed and you can choose which one you want and it'll be pre-rolled and you smoke a joint after you eat.
But I would like to mention it is by municipality.
There's going to be complaints about that.
Well,
no
smoke.
Well, I would like to
say
as
long as it's outdoors and not
but those will be marijuana cafes.
Yeah, just for people with cafes. Yeah,
and you'll be able to order food.
Why don't they have cigarette cafes?
Because once again, the cigarette companies that are out there, they've been fucking making so much money, like they're printing it. Right? What's the company that makes all the cigarettes?
Benson and Hedges, baby.
No, that's just is it McDouglas or McDonald?
No, Benson and Hedges owns McDonald's.
No.
I didn't know that.
It's called
the McDonald's is a type of cigarette too.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yes, I did.
So McDonald's, I think, so these guys are the largest manufacturers of cigarettes, and they're the ones who've been lobbying to shut down shisha restaurants and cafes because they don't make that tobacco.
Yeah.
So it's all about money. That's what it boils down to. So when it comes to marijuana, because the government regulates it, who's going to fucking stop them from giving you licenses to open up a marijuana cafe?
Well, and like it's by kind of like municipality. So for example, Mississauga didn't approve it up until late of 2023. So there was no dispensaries in Mississauga because they voted against it. But then the city realized how much money that they were losing, like people buying units, the foot traffic, the shopping experience. So then they decided to vote for it. And then right now is the first time that they're having it, right? So I don't know if that's how they're going to do it by cafe, municipality,
they're gonna
whatever, but Oakville voted against it. So you guys in Brampton, you can go on the street and smoke a spliff like you can smoke a cigarette and a cop can't stop you, but you can't do that in Oakville. You'll be stopped. What's
going to happen is the same way that you can go to, like in Quebec, you can buy alcohol at any variety store, right? And Doug Ford's trying to, I don't know, can you do that now here?
They're trying to work on it.
He's been trying. Bucket beer bullshit, right?
There's some gas stations that sell beer.
I was just going to
But all kinds of beer, they have like a lower alcohol content.
No, all kinds of beer.
Like Stella, Budweiser.
Yeah, so that's what's going to happen is that
stores.
Once that becomes mainstream, like in Quebec, right, where you can buy beer anywhere, you can just go to your fucking local 7-Eleven and buy it. I'm not going to be surprised, like you were saying, Circle K, you're going to be able to buy weed because these places have to pay for a license. They'll have to pay separate tax on the sales of the weed. They're going to be allowed to sell it. And once they start opening up marijuana cafes, they're going to be at every corner like they're in Europe. It's a moneymaker. So at the end of the day, do they give a fuck about your health and your well-being? No. Because if they banned something for so long and they're saying how bad it was for you, like it was like, it basically was like the word, they were basically saying and promoting that weed is the gateway to heroin and cocaine.
Yep.
And like, no, it's not.
Slippery slope fallacy if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Like my
right?
stepmom grew up in like the 40s and the 50s. And back then, obviously the propaganda was even worse than it was 20 years ago. So when and my dad used to smoke pot, like he was a heavy pot smoker. My dad used to sell me pot in high school. I know that sounds bad, but you don't know the predicament behind it. I used to smoke a lot of pot. I went out to smoke pot with my friends one day and we got robbed and our friend got shot and killed in my arms. So after that, my dad was like, if you're going to smoke pot, it's in my basement and I will get you your pot so you're not putting yourself in these situations. I'm just going to accept you're going to do what you're going to do, but we're going
that
to do
sounds
it.
like the responsible choice in that situation.
So that's what he did. So that's why. But he used to sell me
But is
pot.
that, hold on. I got to play the devil's advocate to what Nikki just said. Is that really the responsible choice?
No, but
His mentality was, I would rather give her something I know is from not laced, that is from a good source.
No, but that means that he's given up on.
Well, I was of age. Like, I was 17. I was.
No, but even then, I'm saying that he's given up on the belief and the concept of being a parent and educating and saying you shouldn't be doing it. He's like, she's going to do it anyhow.
Yes.
Right? So it kind of goes back to the same thing we discussed last time about these fucking, these, what do you call them? These prop ups where you can get like a shot of heroin. I'm talking about?
The
These fucking-
safe shooting centers.
Yeah. It's that, right? That to me, again, is a double-edged sword, right? Because at least they're getting clean needles and it's supervised and all that. Is it really good? Is it not good? Same thing with this, right?
Well, he did. He sold me pot for a time being, mainly because my aunt has a grandfather license for BC and she grows a lot. And he would get really good pounds of BC bud and get it to me in a good price. But that was like, I see where you're saying though, that is kind of bad parenting now that we're talking about it out. Like, not bad parenting, but he should have been like, your friend just got shot. Why don't you try quit smoking? Let's take you to a gym.
Yeah.
Let's put you in dance.
yeah.
Okay,
That's-
this is,
So that's why when Nikki
the
said that's
ADHD is going
responsible
around.
parenting,
it's like
I was like, that's kind of like,
Okay,
I wouldn't
yeah.
call it responsible parenting. That's like an
No,
oxymoron.
I should
when you're talking about
clarify
weed.
when I say responsible. To me, that sounds like the equivalent of like when parents are like, all right, I'm aware you're about to go to a party and you're probably going to fucking drink.
But
And if you do that, please call me so that you're not getting behind
that's
a
the
wheel.
way I
or
think.
like,
That's
that
different.
But
yeah,
I think
but
that's what he
that's
was
way that's
in
different than selling your child weed.
Yeah.
Well,
so
right?
my brain was
now-
focusing on the
Yeah.
do it
This
in my
is-
basement,
Yeah.
and at least I can guarantee it being good, clean.
But the best part is
Rather than
he
the
started
selling
dating
part.
my
But yeah.
stepmom, and she's like 18 years old. She's quite older than him, and she grew up in that time. And I can't even, when I call him, I can't even talk about weed. I can't even, like, I'll send him a picture of like, oh, Dad, look at this display I set up in my store. I don't want this shit on my phone. I have to delete it, get it off. Like, he panics and he acts like he didn't even know what pot was. So
It's like porn.
she's drilled that propaganda into
Wild.
his head by just living there. And I love her to death, and I'm not saying, but she has that, no. She snubs her nose to it all the time. Like, no, you're a pothead. But you know what? Some of the most successful fucking people in the world are potheads.
And also some of the most successful people are not potheads. It goes both ways, right?
It does.
It does, right? I understand that a lot of people who are creative, when they smoke pot, they're even more creative, which I totally get. But
That's a sativa.
I don't believe that is something that really should be, pumped out there. So now kids think when they grow up, oh, I should smoke weed and I'll become more
Here's the
creative.
thing with our dispensary,
Like-
we choose to educate, and I will educate. So if you actually research it, young men between the ages of about 18 to about, I think it's like 25 or 28, they are most prone to schizophrenia, right? So smoking high concentrates of THC can literally it creates irreversible episodes of like decision making, problem making skills. So once you are exposed to a high concentrate of THC, and then you're more susceptible to things like schizophrenia, it's irreversible once you get that. Like, it's irreversible, you can't go back, sort of thing. So when I'm educating my customers and I'm talking about them, and I have a customer coming in and it's their first time or first couple times smoking, and they're a young man, specifically a male, I'll let them know, don't go diving down in the 30%, 40%. Don't do that. You're going to put yourself at higher risk.
Yeah, but Cheyenne, I think that's a great thing you're doing, but imagine how many people are not doing
I was
that.
gonna say, unfortunately,
yeah.
I think you're the minority.
But
I
that's
love
what
that
It's sales. It's all about sales.
it's not
right?
even sales. We educate.
No,
And
but I'm saying you guys do. That's great because you're passionate about
we're
it.
one of a kind.
But back to the thing about doctors and prescriptions, right? This is just another
No,
thing, right? It's
no.
another moneymaker.
That's all it
So
is.
you come in, like you place your order. I don't think the person even asks you, why do you need it? What ailment do you have? Okay, you want to buy this weed, that weed. Here you go. Fuck off. Pay for it. Have a nice day. They're not going to have a conversation with them asking, well, what's your problem? Well, I have anxiety. Oh, well, you shouldn't be getting this or only use this much of that.
That's
That
what,
discussion's not happening.
yeah, and that's where a lot of dispensaries need to kind of step up their game a little bit. Like, at our dispensary, we will, if we're bored on a Sunday, we'll call other dispensaries just to fuck with them, and we'll be like, hey, we're looking for like a CBG balance with like a 3-to-1 with a CBN, and You know you're being put on mute and someone's Googling. You just know.
Because they don't know.
Because they don't know, right? So it's
But
fucking hilarious.
but again, there's no. It's not being regulated where if you hire someone, they have to have certain qualifications.
Actually, it is.
It is.
Yes, it's like a smart serve. You can't just work. You have to. You have to.
You have to take in a course or
Yeah,
something.
I took a course.
I work at a vape store and I know nothing about vapes.
There's no course for that. You can just.
That's tobacco though. THC.
So you're telling me someone who works in your dispensary.
Everybody in my dispensary is licensed.
So how long does it take to get the license? What's the
So it's a basic
online?
It's a basic online day course sort of thing. But it teaches you the laws, the regulations, and then you're tested. And how it works is you have 3 times to do your test. If you fail, you can never apply again. That's it.
But you just said you've called other dispensaries and they don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Those people were licensed.
Well,
but-
so what the training mainly teaches you on is the regulations and policies and like SOP standards. They're not teaching you on the product themselves. And that's based on you to reach out to an LP and be like, okay, tell me what's the benefits of your product. But again, dispensaries hire kids for $16, $17 an hour that are sitting on their phones that don't know what the fuck they want. And that's where we come in. Like, a lot of people don't know what a terpene is. A lot of people don't know what a botanical terpene, like a botanical terpene versus a regular terpene. One's carcinogenic or can be carcinogenic. One is not. Terpenes are found in everything, not just cannabis. It's found in flowers, food, anything that has a smell or taste.
So in Toronto, I've seen a lot of these being shut down. Like I've seen locations where there was a dispensary and now it's like the signs are up for rent. They went bankrupt.
I'm not so much sure with Toronto because I know that they have a few like illegal pop-ups here and there a lot of the time. But I found people when they got their licensing, they kind of branched too much. Like some people opened like 2 or 3 stores at a time.
They went too big.
They went too big to go home. And what ended up happening was when they realized, fuck, I'm going to have to close, they decided to get backed by these multi-million-dollar corporations like Desjardins, Del Monte Fruit. And now that they're backed out, they're considered a corporate company. And that's where you get things like Value Buds, Canna Cabana, all those little places that sold out to be corporate company, Tokyo Smoke. No offense, guys, but y'all suck. And so that's where they sold out. And now they're backed by these million-dollar companies, but they have restrictions now. They have to follow a corporate policy, right? There's refund policies. It's pennies before people. And that we got an offer. We decided, no, we want to keep it mom and pop. We want to be able to, if someone is struggling for $1 pre-roll, we don't want to have to ask a manager's approval. We know it's a regular. We trust our customers. People before pennies. That's how we work.